IGP confirms arrest of 53 over deadly attacks in Benue and Plateau. Zambia seeks court order to stop former president's burial in South Africa. Trump insists U.S. strikes wiped out Iran's nuclear sites despite intelligence doubt. Many thanks for joining us on Global Box this afternoon. I am Oluwabiyi Falodun. Now the news in details. Inspector General of Police IGP Kayode Egbetokun has said the police have arrested 53 suspects in connection with the recent deadly attacks on Yawata community in Benue and Plateau State. The arrest came about a week after President Bola Ahmed Tinubu directed the IGP and the Chief of Defense Staff (CDS). Speaking at the force headquarters in Abuja, Egbetokun said 26 suspects were arrested for the attack in Yawata, 22 others in connection with the Plateau incidents, and 5 others in Benue State. The IGP said 47 persons were killed and 27 others were injured in the Yawata attack, adding that 2 general-purpose machine guns, and says investigation into suspected human rights violations and war crime in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo cannot proceed because of a funding crisis. The UN Human Rights Office says the cash crunch is due to the failure of some countries to fully pay their contribution, compounded by United States cuts in foreign aid. UN High Commissioner for Human Rights Volker Turk said that preliminary findings have revealed summary execution and horrific sexual violence, along with other rights violations in North and South Kivu province. Turk warned that financial and staffing constraints are critically impeding investigative work and voiced alarm at the impact of budget cuts on measures to protect human rights. The Zambian government has initiated legal proceeding against the family of former President Edgar Lungu in an effort to halt his burial scheduled to take place today in South Africa. The government wants the planned burial to be stopped until the dispute on Lungu's final resting place is resolved. Lungu, who led Zambia from 2015 to 2021, died earlier this month in South Africa, where he was receiving treatment from an undisclosed illness. Lungu's family said last week that he will be buried in South Africa in a private ceremony instead of his homeland because of a disagreement between Zambia government over his funeral. Zambia President Hichilema has since argued that Lungu and as a former president belongs to the nation of Zambia and should be buried in the country. Meanwhile, the South African government stated earlier this week that it has a legal duty to honor the wishes of former President Lungu's immediate family for him to be buried in South Africa. Now to the East Africa, where Kenyans are expected to stage mass protests today to mark the one-year anniversary of anti-government protests, which led to the storming of parliament and resulted in several fatalities as police opened fire on the crowd. The death of blogger and teacher Albert Ojwang has become a lightning rod for Kenyans, still mourning the death of more than 60 people killed during the last year's demonstrations and blaming security forces for the fatalities and dozens of unexplained adoption. The Interior Minister in the post on X warned protesters not to provoke police or attempt to breach protected areas, adding that any policing violation would be addressed through government institutions, including the parliament and the judiciary. Earlier, the embassies of the United States, Britain, Canada, and other Western nations released a joint statement on X, urging all involved to facilitate peaceful demonstration and to refrain from violence. Global Box is reaching you live from Adamimogo 107.7 FM Idoe-Ekiti. Still to come. Trump insists U.S. strikes wiped out Iran's nuclear site despite intelligence doubt. Please stay with us.
Hello, good people of Ekiti State and its environment. For your private, political, family, or club meetings, and so on, of not more than 50 to 100 participants, we introduce to you Adamimogo Event Hall. Yes! Right at Olojudo's Palace, Adamimogo 107.7 FM's compound, Ido Ekiti. Ample parking space, good security, clean environment. You also have the opportunity to book for a media publicity of your events on our fast-growing social media platforms. All these for a talking. Simply visit us at Olojudo's Palace, Ido Ekiti, or call the following numbers for more inquiries: 0803 526 5812 or 0916 340 0878 or 0806 511 4430. You can also call 0806 380 8891 at Adamimogo Event Hall. We are waiting for your patronage.
Welcome back and thanks for joining us again. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Facebook via Adamimogo 107.7 FM. For updates around you or news inquiries, please contact our newsroom on this number 0915 786 8095. Now to the rest of the news. The United States President Donald Trump has insisted nuclear sites in Iran were completely destroyed by U.S. military strikes, despite an intelligence report casting doubt on their success. The leaked damage assessment from the Pentagon's Defense Intelligence Agency estimates the attack only set Iran's nuclear program back a few months. Speaking at the NATO meeting today, Trump claimed that the strike resulted into total obliteration of the Iran's nuclear faculties.
Well, the intelligence was very inconclusive. The intelligence says we don't know. It could have been very severe. That's what the intelligence says. So I guess that's correct. But I think we can take the we don't know. It was very severe. It was obliteration. And you'd think that a media outlet would say, isn't that a great thing? I mean, more importantly for the pilots, for the military, you take their guts out. You take their absolute guts out. They had a tremendous attack. It was a complete obliteration. The other team, the other group, Iran said, let's stop this. And you know what? Israel said it too. Very smart.
Trump's special envoy to the Middle East, Steve Witkoff, calls the leaked treasonous and calls for the person responsible to be investigated. Meanwhile, in a video summing up the war against Iran, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu described that Israel achieved a historic victory that would abide for generations following the U.S. brokered ceasefire to end the 12-day conflict.
We have thwarted Iran's nuclear project. If anyone in Iran attempts to revive this project, we will act with the same determination, with the same strength, to cut off any such attempt. I say again, Iran will not have nuclear weapons. The fruitful diplomatic effort I led together with Minister Dermer, with President Trump and his team. And I must tell you, Israel has never had a greater friend in the White House than President Trump, and I thank him very much for our joint efforts. This has enormous implications for the national security of Israel, for the security of each and every one of you, for your children and grandchildren, and for your future, and for the entire Middle East. We destroyed the main enrichment facility in Natanz, the uranium conversion facility in Isfahan, and the heavy water facility in Iraq. Our friend, President Trump, joined our efforts in an unprecedented manner. Under his directive, the United States military destroyed the underground enrichment site in Fordow.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu speaking there. NATO leaders have arrived in The Hague for a summit hailed by German Chancellor Friedrich Merz as historic and aimed at securing peace in Europe for future generations. This will be the first U.S. President Donald Trump's first NATO summit, since 2019, and all 32 leaders are set to commit to spending 5% of national output on defense and related infrastructure. Ahead of his arrival, NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte sent Trump a pre-summit message, lavishing praise on his handling of Western alliance and the conflict in Iran.
All three savages charged with Jocelyn and Lakin's murders were members of the Venezuelan prison gang, the toughest gang, they say, in the world, known as Tren de Aragua. 2 weeks ago, I officially designated this gang, along with MS-13 and the bloodthirsty Mexican drug cartels, as foreign terrorist organizations. They are now officially in the same category as ISIS, and that's not good for them.
Rutte also congratulated Trump on his decisive action in Iran that was truly extraordinary and something no one else dared to do. It makes us safer. The NATO Secretary General earlier told the European colleagues to stop worrying about the U.S. commitment to the Western alliance and focus on investing in defense and supporting Ukraine. The United States Treasury Department has sanctioned the alleged leader of Tren de Aragua, a Venezuelan gang that the administration of President Donald Trump has used as justification for its immigration crackdown. In a statement released yesterday, the Treasury Office of Foreign Asset Control said Giovanni Vincent Muscura was not only sanctioned but also indicted by the Department of Justice. According to the unsealed court document, Muscura Serrano faces charges related to drug trafficking and terrorism and was also added to the FBI's 10 most wanted list with a $3 million reward offered for information leading to his arrest or conviction. Earlier this year, the Trump administration designated Tren de Aragua and other Latin America gangs as foreign terrorist organization, a category more commonly used to describe international groups with violent political aims. Statement Treasury Secretary Scott Benson accused the Tren de Aragua under Muscura Serrano's leadership of terrorizing communities and facilitating the flow of illicit narcotic into our country. Chinese Premier Li Qiang has called on other countries to collaborate on trade despite rising tariff and other barriers. Speaking during the opening plenary of the World Economic Forum annual meeting in China, Li said engaging in the international economy is a way of reshaping the rules and orders, calling on countries to keep to the right path. He also maintained an upbeat view on the Chinese economy during the conference and said authority would implement measures to make China a mega-sized consumption powerhouse, in addition to being one in manufacturing. Li's speech at the WEF gathering sought to portray China as a staunch defender of a rule-based international trading system that is now under attack by the Trump administration. Olympic Lyonnais have been relegated to Ligue 2 French football's financial watchdog following an audit of the club. Lions were provisionally demoted by the DNCG in November due to poor state of their finances, and the decision was confirmed yesterday after a meeting between club owners John Textor and DNCG. The club stated that Olympique Lyonnais acknowledged the baffling decision issued by DNCG and affirms it will lodge an immediate appeal. The decision to relegate Lyon comes a day after US businessman Textor sold a 43% stake in English club Crystal Palace.
It will, as always, encourage and support entrepreneurs in their undertakings and endeavors, and continue to foster a market-oriented, world-class business environment governed by a sound legal framework. With arms wide open, we warmly welcome enterprises from around the world to invest in China, deepen your roots in China, develop alongside China, and work with us for a better future.
This is Adamimogo
107.7 FM.
Idoiki.
Adamimogo. Ó dùn, ó yàtọ̀, ó yí mọ́mọ́.
This is